The interested parties in this particular event are the Spanish, because it is a Spanish registered aircraft. Also, the fact that the aircraft departed from Northern Ireland indicates to us that we have to advise the UK authorities. We have done that, and they will provide us with information vis-à-vis Manx and anything else.
No idea how old this aircraft is? Or?
Metroliner is not a modern aircraft, but you can have aircraft flying 20, 30 years old, and they fly safely once they have been properly certified and maintained.
Could you give us an idea of how many people are involved in the investigation in terms of the teams from the AAIU?
We received from Cork Air Traffic Control slightly after 10 o'clock this morning that an accident had taken place. We immediately responded with 2 GO teams. The first GO team made up of an engineer and a pilot. The pilot being the investigator in charge, Leo Murray, routed directly to the Air Corps base in Baldonnel and sought transport through a helicopter to Cork. That aircraft has now landed in Cork, and we now have a presence of the AIU at the accident site. The accident site was at that time preserved until the arrival of those investigators. The second crew, made up of an engineer and a pilot, have gone by road, and they will bring equipment associated for the investigation. We expect them to be arriving sometime after 2 o'clock.
Would it be accurate to say that this aircraft had gone around the airport and was making an approach from the south, and that it may not have touched down on the runway per se at any stage, may have impacted the ground elsewhere?
Again, it's far, far too early to be speculating that. We will have to, as I said, review all the air traffic control tapes, ATC tapes. We'll also have to interview witnesses, eyewitnesses, if any. So really, it's too early to speculate, and we're not going to speculate.
Have you had to contact air traffic control at other airports to make any particular preliminary recommendations about how certain aircraft should deal with fog approaches or anything like that? Or again, might this just be a purely exceptional case and you don't know?
Again, there are standard operating procedures for aircraft. There are limits to weather, and these will all be taken into account during the course of the investigation. If I could just maybe talk a little bit about the investigation process. We are aware that this aircraft has suffered extensive fire damage. These fire events with aircraft are very severe, approximately 1,000 degrees Celsius. So at this stage we're not exactly 100% sure to how much wreckage is remaining. But obviously our investigators will look at the wreckage. Of particular priority to us is the recovery of the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. And it's important that we have access to that information, and hopefully when we recover that information and analyse it, it will give us some indication as to what was going on in the final moments of the event.
Do they have good survivability in 1,000 degrees Celsius?
Absolutely. These are designed to take high impact, high speed and high temperature impacts.
How long would you expect the investigation to take, or by which time we might have preliminary findings?
It would be our intention, the Air Accident Investigation Unit, to have a preliminary report out within 1 month. Now, I must emphasise that the preliminary report is purely identifying the basic facts. It may be 1 or 2 pages. The investigative process goes on for a significant period of time, and investigations have taken up to 1 to 2 years, depending on the complexity of the event itself.
So, Paul, you mentioned that the Spanish and the UK were assisting. What role will they have in this?
Again, there is international obligations through ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, Annex 13, that the state of registry, which is Spain, has an entitlement to be involved in the investigation. They have been advised, and the likelihood is that they will send an investigator to Ireland, to Cork, and that investigator, who is an accredited representative, will come under the jurisdiction and direction of the investigator in charge of the Air Accident Investigation Unit. As I said earlier, the UK authorities have offered assistance, and in these situations we do accept assistance, but invariably it is Ireland and the Air Accident Investigation Unit who will be conducting the investigation.
Can you give us just a piece of housekeeping, and that's the flight number and the call sign of the aircraft?
I believe it's Flight Avia 400 Charlie, 400C.
And will it have a particular call sign?
That would be its call sign.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
In case you want to use, if there's a casualty information number which you might find useful, it's 021 442 8820.
Excuse me, could I just ask one final question? Have you had previous incidents involving fog at Cork Airport? How many such incidents has the AA investigation unit investigated?
Well, we on an ongoing basis would conduct investigations into accidents, serious incidents, and we've been, as an independent body, we have been investigating for the last 15 years. Thankfully, the majority of our accidents are relatively small in nature with small numbers. But the indications are that we have fatalities in this particular event. And the last major public transport accident in Ireland was Tusker Rock in 1968. As regards fog or weather-related events, in the past we've had accidents that are associated with weather conditions, but again, we have to look at what the weather conditions were at the time, particularly for this event.
Can you tell us anything about the condition of the casualties at this stage?
No, that would be for An Garda Síochána.
Can